And what's interesting about your sun is it really does shine in the 10th house, which is the highest reach, into the public. It's your public reputation. It's how people out there perceive you. It's your reputation. And Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and this is, a really fabulous communicator. You love to move. This is the house of career. I think you got that already. You don't do well sitting in a cubicle from 8 to 5. you need to move about. In fact, Gemini, the twins, you could have multiple jobs. You could have a day job and a night job, something like that. Or, there's just two aspects of your career, or part of your life is spent in one career and all of a sudden it flips to a different career. But Gemini is like the wordsmith. And I kind of chuckled when I saw that, because I saw in your video how your mind is able to, create a whole new language. Gemini is how we communicate, it's language. So your mind, really has the ability to do that, to write, to journal, to write songs, So good job on that one. Your moon is in Aquarius, so I'm going to go, on that. So it would be a full moon. The light is on quirkiness, right? The full moon light is the brightest light that we can see something under, and I love Aquarius. Aquarius is really the genius mind. It can be extremely objective, where others can get stuck looking at something emotionally. You have the ability, to rise above a situation and put space between that situation and yourself to see it more objectively, to see it, like a hawk can see more what's going on from that different perspective. Aquarius is about the future. Your moon is in the 5th house. That's the house of creativity, play, risk. So you're able, this is the 5th house. So you're able, to take risks, isn't that a phrase? Creative risks. You really don't care, Aquarians are visionary. Again, futuristic. They don't see things from the past. They see into the future. And that's what motivates your creativity a lot. The moon, is a lot our emotional body. And Aquarians need a lot of space. There can be times where maybe if you're performing, or just in general, if you're around too many crowds, you may feel, I need to get out of here. I have something real significant in that. And, so when you're on and out in the world, you're really on and out. But when you close that door, you really do need some space. And it's okay for you to vocalize to others, you know what, I need to be alone right now. And I'm going to show you later where the two of you both have a significant aspect similar to that, which suits you well, because both of you do have that need to retreat and escape into the background. And if one of you didn't have that and the other did, you could have somebody going, well, what do you mean you want to stay home? I got to go and be out in the world. But it works out really well, which I'll show you, that you both, are happy to come home compositely and escape, from out there. So that was your moon. Your rising is Virgo.
Oh.
Get it. And your rising literally is, what was on the horizon, rising, what constellation was rising when you were taking your first breath. And Virgo is the perfectionist. As you can see, it's in opposition to Pisces. You know, the two of them need to work together. Pisces is up there, spiritual. Virgo is here. The work of Virgo energy on this planet is to bring, you know, what's really nebulous and fantasy and divine and galactic and spiritual, to bring it down onto Earth, to bring it into reality. Some of the pitfalls, the shadows of Virgo, I'm a Virgo moon, we can be our own worst critics. Put us in a room alone after something happened, and it's always, you know, I didn't do it right, I was wrong, it should have been better. We have to be careful about being judgmental and nitpicky and critical of others, but oftentimes the one that it turns on the worst is ourselves. And why we're so nitpicky and critical, I like, because Virgo energy is here to constantly refine and perfect and improve. And without that Virgo energy, you know, like you might write something and then pull it out again and go, nope, you know, and you just keep refining it and refining it and refining it. And we need those refiners, and we need those people who have the ability to pull down from up there something and make it damn real. If we're here on the earth, this is reality, you know, this is where there's form, and thank God, you know, good things are being pulled down by people with Virgo energy. It's also got a lot of relationship to service in the world. So your soul really did, you know, come down here at this time in the world to be of service to the world. And so that refinement of things, that perfection that you seek, can be of service to the world, because there's a lot of mediocrity, you know, and your place here is kind of to take some potential of refinement to that mediocrity, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, any questions on that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like how I like your articulation of it. So you're very good at articulating this.
Okay, good. Good. Your Venus is in Leo, and where it is in the 11th house. Venus, it's beauty, it's what we value. The 11th house, interesting, that is the house that, like, when you just look at a chart, you know, I don't go too deep into explaining that, but every house, like the first house naturally is Aries, and then it goes all the way around. The 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. So there you go again, you know, starting to see some theme here. Venus, I value Aquarian energy. The 11th house is about our visions, our dreams, our hope for the future. I could, like, you really do hold in your heart a good vision of the future and what it can be. It's the house of light workers and other freak friends. So, might even say something like that. Venus in the 11th. You may attract many friends and enjoy socializing with groups of people. You may take on, oh, that's in the 11th. That's not what I'm looking for. It's this one I'm looking for. Anyway, this program, Solar Fire, is probably one of the best that professional astrologers use, Solar Fire. It was developed in Australia, but some of the interpretations are through some more traditional astrology, and I practice shamanic and evolutionary astrology. It's kind of been updated a little, so I look at some of those and go, yeah, that's cool the way they worded it or agreed, but we also have, you know, an evolutionary, a different approach to it. But look at all of this. Uranus. Uranus is what rules Aquarius, so it's in that house. And it's in the sign of Cancer, home and family. Uranus. It's about rebellion. It's about inventiveness again. It's about breaking free. So you want to be the friends, the families, the groups, that you feel closest to, that you would call family. Your Uranus is in Cancer, the home of family, and your inner child, it loves to be around crazy nacho man. I mean, look at the people who are your friends,
Yeah.
And I'm talking the more, intimate, I can see where you have both of you and then compositely appeal to a much broader mass of people than maybe you even imagined, especially at this time. But as far as what you would choose to be groups and organizations you want to belong to, or friends, you want to be out there with people who are, ahead of the game, different in the game, and that's where you feel at home. You're with your Uranus there. Mercury is also in that house. So look at all the planets in that house. Mercury, Uranus. Mercury and Uranus are what we call conjunct. 18 degrees, 21 degrees in the same sign. The way you think, the way you communicate, the power of Mercury is holding hands. It's close. It's supporting Uranus, and Uranus is supporting it. So the way you speak, there's a lot more freedom in your words than most people. The way you think would be, would have more freedom. Your mind has more freedom than most people do. You're rebellious. You think rebelling a lot. And the rebelling is basically from what no longer works. Aquarius is a sign of the future. You're here to help rebel and find freedom from what's old and no longer works, and lead the way towards the future. Whether you're here in this incarnation or not, you're building that road. Okay? I spoke about in evolutionary astrology, being able to look at the chart and know. I hope you're hearing some of the things that are your gifts, what you came here to be. But we usually look personally on somebody's chart to these little things, this little kind of U-shaped thing and this upside down U. And those are called the moon's lunar nodes. And one of them, the south node, it's below us, it's past us, is what we consider your soul came here. Kind of you graduated. If after they pulled you out, you had a briefcase full of resumes, you got enough resumes about Cancer from other lifetimes. Cancer, about family, about knowing your inner child, living in a home, creating a home, a more traditional home. You have that ability, and it doesn't mean when you come here you throw that out, but a lot of people get locked into it. We really should be living, in my mind, about 20% with what you learned in Cancer, but the other 80% kind of working towards the North Node, what your soul in this lifetime would like to learn. Take some curriculum courses in. And it's Capricorn. And you're with a really good teacher, because when we get, you'll see she's got like 5 planets in Capricorn. So you have a good teacher, to mirror the good qualities of Capricorn. And what is Capricorn? So your North Node is in the 4th house. This is the home of the inner child, the family, home, inner psychological roots. you mastered, the sensitivity and the feminine qualities of Cancer, but in this lifetime, you want to experiment more and move more towards being a voice of authority. There's some woundedness here. This is Chiron, your wound with Saturn. And without showing you where they are, we all have like a core wound we came here that we're working on. And somewhere, your sense of personal authority has been eroded. And so you can try to pull away from, I don't want to be the authority. Just let somebody else be the authority and make the decision. But that's something, I would suggest you start moving, towards a little bit more, is kind of taking the power, You also have Saturn retrograde, which is, you have Saturn and Mars retrograde, which means, you're really working internally in this lifetime. Saturn, responsibility, we were talking about that. It's responsibility, restriction. You're here to learn some inner restriction, some inner responsibility, and those can just seem like miserable words to you. I have the same thing. Saturn retrograde, and a lot of people don't. And yet, as I was explaining the other night, Saturn takes a bad rap, but it's ready to move into a position with Pisces that I think we're going to start seeing it as our friend. Because if we can see Saturn as, it's structure, but you know what makes all our quartz crystals so powerful and everything? It's the rigid structure that's created in them that makes them so powerful. So something, in this lifetime, and we can do more if you choose when we look at transits, if you want another day, like where things are on your chart right now, helping you, what, are some of the assists with that. Also in that fourth house of home and family, and I don't know, I'm just throwing out what I see as an astrologer, and you can ask yourself that. You have one of the rarest retrogrades. It's Mars retrograde, and that can also be, again, that theme of I'm holding my power inside because I don't want to show it, to the world. So a Saturn restriction, a Mars restriction is, I know I have the power, but something's holding it inside, and it needs to be released when it feels comfortable. Often I see when there's Mars retrograde in the fourth house that there's a woundedness from the father or male figures in the family, brothers, father, grandfathers, doing something or being in a way that it just kind of sucks Mars is our action, our vitality, kind of sucks it out of you. And it's, what is it in? Yeah, it's in, God, it's so hard to see the screens. It's in Capricorn. And again, something just internal that saps, your ability to fight back with some authority. There's some hesitancy there. So something to work on in this lifetime for sure. Pluto, the planet Pluto, it's our power that comes up, from volcanic action. It's the unconscious mind. The 12th house is the collective world and everything that is. You're really here, to help people understand the unconscious, to making, I guess that phrase would be a good one, the unconscious conscious. You're here to help open up the collective to the power of the unconscious in our lives. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I kind of felt that when I said to you the first day, I feel your work, just completely moves the brain waves from that reptilian sympathetic brain back here into what I would consider this is where true consciousness is: hope, love, trust, faith, this frontal lobe. And if the energy isn't going, the brain waves to this frontal lobe, you can't be conscious. Most criminals and things, they're really in that reactive mode. Yeah. So that's some pretty potent work. Also, you have so much like deep power that when you do bring it out into the world, you really feel yourself drained. Just like, a volcano can erupt and flow and flow and flow, and it's seen for miles, but then when the vapors, when it stops, it goes down and it kind of disappears and people don't talk about it for a while. So you probably have moments like that where maybe you went out so big, but you blew your load, dude. You blew your volcanic load, and that 12th house can be one of retreat, fantasy, rest. Literally, I am so stripped energetically that I need to just close the door and get that that lava settled and everything. I'm just going to bring that up now. You have your moon in the 12th house. So,
Me?
yeah. So kind of the same thing, you want to speak emotionally to the whole collective through your heart. It's in Cancer. You want to pour yourself out. But again, that can be anything, out to the 12th house is the whole culmination of everything and everybody. Actually, it's interesting because it is the house that's viewed a lot as retreat and escape and pull back. And yet a lot of really, really big famous stars like Madonna and stuff have a whole house full of planets in there,
And where?
In the 12th house, because it is the collective. But then you think about Madonna, she really pulls back, after she's done, she's pretty secret, and goes into her own, retreat, just disappears for a while, Let me see what else I have on you just for today. Yeah, so Pluto in the 12th house, you're here to make the unconscious powerful. You're here to kind of help people understand just how potent and powerful they can be by playing in those realms of the, unconscious mind. So making people who aren't aware of the power of the conscious, it's kind of the people who don't even know that they don't know, sorry. But people are waking up right now. Aquarius is, Uranus, people are breaking free. They're waking up from this dream they conditioned everybody with. They're waking up. It's not really a dream. It's a nightmare if you try too hard to be this, especially all-American dream, right? So, what else? Oh, one thing that is interesting, Thoth, on your chart, I got the same thing too. The South Node, where we've been in the past, we've graduated from, when we find it in the 10th house, we often see that as you had lifetimes of really being out there, and it's in Cancer. I see that as like tribal, the family, where past lifetimes, it was a little heavy, and honestly, I was just kind of did a meditation. When I pull up a chart, I just kind of go into a space and look at it and see if I can feel anything intuitively. Just throwing that out. Oftentimes, when we have to be in that position of leadership, and I'm talking big leadership. This isn't, he was the head of the Brownies or Boy Scouts or something. This is, big leadership in the world. And, what leader hasn't created some problems for their people? And I've done some work with mine, and I get a little fearful about exerting my power too. And I think it's because in some other lifetimes, perhaps my decisions or my power, I took the authority and said, yeah, everybody will go in this direction, and it was the wrong choice. And it cost people lives. And then in this lifetime, it's like, oh, don't put that decision on me, because you've got that. But that was another, lifetime. So you did play it really, really big in that lifetime. So now that North Node is in that 4th house of the inner child, the inner psychological roots, family, home. This lifetime is much, and don't hear that I'm saying don't be out in the world. But it's real important for you and me too to regain some self-worth in this lifetime and regain our power again. Yeah, just throwing that out if that resonates or not. But what we did in the past, with our roles in the past, who didn't make a mistake, who didn't this or that, and we just can't keep carrying this on through different incarnations. So the North Node, it's a lot what your soul wants you to work on in this lifetime. It's finding inner authority, go in that Cancer crab in that 4th house, and find that it's okay. You are a powerful person. Don't give up, your power. Yeah. Cool. Any questions?
Yep.
And I mean, this is really quick, but I don't want to be super. Is somebody moving? I don't know who all people are. Anyway, you. Oh, that's Sherry and Butch's friends. It's so cute.
That Lily?
Yeah. I think there's only one dog here right now.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in this chair.
Oh, yeah.
It's my turn.
It's hard torn. It's so cool.
It is.
The one thing I have to say, there's different ways to do like compatibility. One is, and I'll do both when you guys are ready for that. One of them is to combine both the charts, and it comes up with like a midpoint. Like, you take his son and your son, and if you bring them together, where's the middle? You guys, your risings, compositely we call that, is Leo. So, a lot of your being together is to be on stage for the world. Leo is the sun that shines every day, and it brings its warmth to people. But Leos are the quintessential. Give me a microphone, and give me a stage. Yeah.
We don't take the microphone.
Well.
Just very
So let's make sure
It's
we have
our
it.
lungs.
Yeah. So you were born on Friday, on Venus Day. Friday is Venus Day. And your moon really does kind of fit your chart. It's, you were born in the 1st quarter. So the moon wasn't new, but it was waxing, it was building. It was like, a week or so into it when you start seeing the nice, crescent Now it's taking form. Different planets. I didn't go through this with you because, and it's not like it's bad. It's just there was no big signature there. Just a quick astrology lesson. There's different. Hey there. There's different modes.
Hello.
And some planets are cardinal. That's action oriented. They initiate. That's Capricorn, Libra, Aries, and Cancer. Some are mutable. They so there's initiation, and then something has to flow from where it's been to being new. That's mutable signs. Those are Gemini, Virgo, Pisces. Brain dead today. Don't say that. Anyway, I can't think of it. And then fixed. So then they anchor it. So do you see that where cardinal initiates something? And the cardinal signs are all where the equinoxes and solstices are. They initiate a new season. Aries initiates spring, Capricorn initiates winter, Libra fall, Cancer summer. And then the fixed signs, once something moves there, maintains it. Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. And the fixed can be challenging because they're the most stubborn. I don't want to change that. The cardinal signs and the mutable ones, are easier, to change. Your chart is so initiatory. A lot of cardinal signs.
What does that mean?
So,
again?
You initiate. You're the starter. Like those planets are the ones that start the new season. Think of, Aries is like the first burst of spring. It's the first spark. So you're super, super good at coming up with, oh my God, I got this idea. And I'm going to say this to you because I have the same kind of a chart in a different way. I'm sitting here pretty broke at 70 years old. Okay, edit that word. Just a little short in the budget at 70 because my entire life, most of it, I didn't realize this. I've been doing astrology for the last 20 or so. Should have been doing it longer, but I got stuck in like corporate America from conditioning, family, Midwest conditioning, whatever. But oh my God, the ideas I still have, but I never found the help or delegated. It was like, I think kind of what they were talking about here. And I'm not making them right, wrong. I don't know what all is going on with you guys. But, a lot of artists too, they initiate, they're always starting a new project or something. But then they try to, market it and sell it and make all the arrangements, and we just can't, So I'm trying to help you understand that a really strong, talent of yours is, the sparks, the new ideas. But it's really time with Saturn moving into Pisces. I think we talked about this. We'll go into this more. Saturn this week, which is take responsibility, restrict yourself, build slowly, for the long term, is in Pisces. And those two are not great bedmates. Pisces doesn't want any boundaries. It's water. It wants to just, be poured in a cup and go where it wants to go. And Saturn goes, no, can't do that. We need to build a dam around you, But think about that. When you do, what does that do? It creates power, right? They're using that a lot. Hoover Dam and stuff creates power. So it's going to be interesting. Just this week, Saturn moved into Union. They're going to be together in Pisces for 3 years. This is going to be a time to build where really our dreams, our fantasies, music, beauty can be built and take form. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really special time, and it's going to, I'll show you when we do the transits on what's hitting who when. But you are the builder. Capricorn initiates, and it wants to build things for the long term. And look at all those planets that you have. Uranus, Saturn, Mars, and Neptune, all in Capricorn. That sixth house is health, work, service, everyday life and schedule. So you're the one that says, and it's financial security. You're the one that says, I'll take the money, right? You know, in your everyday work, daily life, you're probably the one that makes the arrangements, and nothing wrong with that, because why take that from you? You're really, good at that. Your Mars, your action in building things and creating things. However, there's only so far to build it for the future and the long term that an initiator can take it. So this is where you're still the builder, but maybe you've built a team to help you do that, right? Yeah. And that's all my life I tried. I have strong Aries energy, my Aries sun. I need to do it myself. And when I tried to delegate, people let me down because I have a Virgo moon and they didn't do it perfect. Like I had this herbal dream pillow business, and everybody was like, wow, you came up with this brilliant idea and the formula for the herbs, and everybody loves them, but you're making them one at a time and making sure every string is cut the right way. Hire somebody to do it. And it's like, they weren't right, but I probably threw in the towel too fast. That person wasn't right for the job, but I still needed to go that direction to hand it off. But for Virgo energy, you've got that. You kind of don't want to pass it off because they aren't going to do it. We could get real critical, and if they don't do it perfect, it's not good, right? And yet, at some point, there's got to be some allowance, for it's off a little bit in some things, right? So let's look at where your sun is. Your sun is in the 8th house, and the 8th house is about how we merge with others to survive. It's about actually, having other people's support, getting bank loans. It's the house that Scorpio rules. It's about death and birth and regeneration. It's a really powerful house. So you're here. It's in Pisces, to really work also like he does with that unconscious mind, that Piscean overlay of everything. Probably in this lifetime, there's going to be a lot of things that you're asked, to let die in order for something new to be birthed. And when I say let die, I mean let die. Like it's gone. You don't revisit it at all. Scorpio, when it's gone, right? Okay. So you're good also at working with others, I think Napoleon Hill said, use other people's money, so take it. So you're good at your sun shines, you're able to take money from others, for survival needs easier than he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So isn't that great?
What would you do without me?
Yeah.
We always tease him. He'd be on the sidewalk and he wasn't.
And I'm like you too. I swear. It took me getting cancer, and I think that's why I got it 5 years ago, to learn to receive. I got a real messed up 3 planets in Taurus, and that's receiving money, comfort, pleasure. My Venus is retrograde. It's all I think I have to come up with every penny myself. So I finally got into a situation where if I didn't learn to receive, I literally would be dead. If I didn't say, yeah, I need somebody to go get me some food, I'd die, So, damn, that's what happens when you don't learn your lessons with the little taps. You get the 2x4s where I could have learned it years ago when people said, let's help you. We'll give you some money to start a business. Nope, the hand was never open. So she's got an open hand. Or the ability to have one. She has free will. She can turn it like this too.
Yeah.
Mine's hand's more open than his is. He's like,
Yeah. So that's your sun. You're rising. This is interesting. Your ascendant, they call it your ascendant too, or your rising. This is what your soul is ascending to, what it's wanting to do in this lifetime. It's at the very last, we call that the critical degree, the anaretic degree. Every planet goes to 29 degrees, and then it starts at 0 of the next sign. You came here to really, I'm done with this, It's family, it's the inner child. So you came here to really understand, the themes of tribe and inner self-worth and inner care and nurturing. And it also gives you a really good ability to nurture others, actually. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's only come up in the last 5 or 6 years of my life. Like really realizing how much I love serving and supporting other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could tell you why, because Pluto was like squaring that rising the last 4 years. But you really wanna get it. And it also, when I said earlier when you were walking to the laundromat, the rising is a lot your physicality, how other people like view you, your personality, so they can at first glance see you as she's a little shy. But then once they get to know you, your 10th house of reputation, public acclaim, career is Aries. And every client I've ever done that had an Aries midheaven, that's the pioneer. It's the trendsetter. You think everybody looks like that? Hell no, and thank God, But you do it, then all of a sudden somebody else, and what do they say? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery or something. I when I quit corporate America, I had to waitress at a pizza sports bar to become a massage therapist, and I always wore my hair funky, and I was like 50 doing that, and I would laugh because the little college girls, I'd wear my hair like this, and the next day, like 2 of them would have a couple pigtails and so say, how do you do that, So I have that Aries, Aries energy is to light the spark. It's to be the trendsetter, to be the pioneer. And it's not always easy. When I drove here from Illinois to California to live, it really, when you make a journey like that in a car, really makes you realize what the pioneers, it takes guts to be a pioneer.
Even now to do that. But back then.
Now, yeah. But, they didn't know. They heard you, so Aries, it's brave. So you have a lot of courage. Takes a lot of courage, and I'm saying this in a beautiful way. Everybody I know that I've, introduced to you are like, oh, wow, this is so special. It takes courage, to break the tradition and step out in a new way. People coming here, from Boston to go to California, they just heard there were Indians, there were cattle rustlers, and still they did it. Mm-hmm. So you may have heard people in your family or counselors go, no, you can't do that for a career. You'll never make it. And yet with Aries there, you also have Eris. I don't want to go into that too much right now, but Eris is the sister. It's a dwarf planet that they found in the early 50s actually, around when we were born. And she's the sister of Mars. And basically, the more, we're looking at what she's doing in the world, she came here to rock the boat. So Eris for you is sitting, like right on the line of your they call that your mid-heaven. It's like the gate to your reputation and your career in the outer world. So you didn't come here to like appease audiences or play knockoffs.
Play cover songs.
Cover song I'm old, huh? I said knockoff songs. Can I have a CD?
Pause, let me restart this
That's
again.
fine.
Sorry.
As I said, I like that.
Yeah, I'll make CDs, it's just nobody asked for them.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I had to laugh today. I should have taken a picture. I'm just always walking around and poking my head in and exploring one of these shops on 30. There's this big CD stand out there of all, old Mexican music or something. There's still CDs, but everything is so, there's nothing new on this island. These people are so poor. I mean, what do you call it? Streaming music and things, Spotify and, little gizmos that kids have in the States or other part of the world. These people are still carrying around like first generation boom boxes. I've seen them, in their backyards and things with CDs and cassettes. Anyway, so you've got a lot of power, in a lot of courage in that 10th house. And Eris in Aries, she's playing, with her brother there, and they're like, we're gonna kick ass out there, You also have Venus in Aries. It's very, Venus in Aries, again, you value trend-setting, new things, cutting edge, but also Venus is like the protector. She's like the household defender, like if somebody said something about you, look out. This one would probably, take a
with an axe
machete
swinging.
or something.
Come out swinging.
And you do have Jupiter also in Aries. Jupiter blesses and makes bigger what it touches. So, she's got that real creative spark, And that creative spark, I think of Aries as, it's the first sign in the zodiac. If you're ever walking around and you literally see like a weed or a tree or something, it like, right when it breaks out of that seed, it is so potent. It still blows me away that it breaks through concrete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is quite an extraordinary.
When I know when I see that, I always marvel. And my Mercury's in Pisces, so I like to communicate like in pictures. So when I explain Aries to people, that way they start getting it. I mean, it's that powerful. And the equinox is at 0 Aries, and that is the most potent degree of the zodiac. Out of the 365, it's like, push right through. But all the degrees of Aries, they're really about pushing through. And if you're going to be a pioneer, if you're going to, set a trend, you've got to be able to break barriers like concrete, because that's what people's minds and conditioning are like, right? They're like concrete. And so, people with Aries energy, have a lot of courage to just keep going at it again and again and again until, they break through that rigidity, that concrete. The other thing I wanted to point out to you that I thought was kind of cool, when you were born, Venus and Jupiter were in the sky together. So this alignment was very powerful for you. That alignment was Venus and Jupiter in the sky.
When I saw that, I was like, wow.
So when you were born, if people would have gone out and looked at the night sky, it would have looked real similar to that. It didn't have the moon with it, but it had, you would have seen Venus and Jupiter are the two brightest planets in the sky. You would have seen them, and I have that too. I have Venus, Mars, and Jupiter all in Taurus. So when my dad came out of the hospital, he would have looked up into the sky and seen, Venus and Jupiter together too. Yeah. So let's see. The south node you came here with strong Virgo energy. In the past, you were Virgo. I also want to point out in shamanic astrology, we view the south node or the moon, if you had it in Virgo or rising, as the high priestess. You know, we were the Vestal virgins that didn't take, you know, like the word virgin. I'm sure both of you know that. It isn't this weak little thing that hasn't had sex. It just means a woman that doesn't need to be supported. In fact, the Vestal virgins were having a lot of sex, tantric and stuff like that, with men. It's just they didn't need, like the other women back in that time, to be supported by a man. They could do it on their own. Where was I going with that? Oh, so you came here with a lot of the precision. You've improved things, you've refined things, you've paid attention to the details, and that's great. But in this lifetime, the North Node is in Pisces, and that says try to learn sometimes not to look at the minutia, at every little detail. And that doesn't say don't ever do it, to refine it. But in this lifetime, it's more about looking at the big picture. You know, looking at the end of the road, looking at the big picture. Does that make any sense? Yeah. And again, that south node where we've been in the past doesn't mean throw it away, you know, because you were already there. In some forms of astrology, they used to say that. Don't go there. So what? Don't pay attention to details? You know, oops, a few less zeros on that bank account, you know, because I don't want to look at that. I want to be up in the clouds. It's just saying, you know, bring the two more together. You know, sometimes you can be too nitpicky with that south node in Virgo. And then with him having the rising like that, you guys could maybe together erupt so much perfectionism that you don't bring it out at all. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, where you're trying so hard to make it perfect that it never happens. So to learn, you know what, bring it out, you know. Even if it isn't perfect, you will refine it and perfect it. But look at the bigger picture. At least you brought it out.
I'm working on that today.
What's that?
Just releasing an album, a 3-part album that we've never released in like it's 6 years old today.
Wow.
I haven't done it. I'm like going, I want to fucking put it all out there.
Yeah.
And they're like, but
And
nobody's
then,
gonna.
and then the perfection came
And then
in.
the perfectionism came in, and I was fussing around with the details of something being not just the.
But can you see where,
Yeah.
you know, if we get locked into that, and if both of you have that together, that's why combined it's good. You combined, you lose some of that, but you can also combined go even bigger with that, where hopefully one or the other would just say, no, let's just go for it. What's the worst they can do? Boo?
Yeah.
Boo or not buy it, but what if it never? You know, and again, kind of being a mentor isn't a word at all. Just trying to say, I've lived a lot of my life that way too, and you know, now I'm seeing. I got introduced into essential oils before they were even cool, and herbs and all of that. I mean, seriously, like before, you know what Young's Living and all that is? And some multi-level one that came out. And everybody was like, oh, you know, create your own. And I'm like, you know, tried to get labels made. They weren't perfect. I was going to design a line of Renaissance slutwear. It was really cool. And then I was like, no, it isn't just right. No, it isn't this. No, it isn't that. No other people have done that before. And nothing came out. And then when I saw how big essential oils became, And then just a couple years, because I'm the trendsetter too, a couple years later, all the commercials were Renaissance makeup, Renaissance clothes, and it's like, here I had that idea, but because I don't like the way the sleeve turned out on that one, I was like, nah, scratch the whole thing. So we're living at a time where we got to throw it all out, you know, if not, it's the thing now is if not now, when. It really is. And that's the best thing to ask is, you know, what's the worst that could happen? Nobody buys it, nobody likes it, you go back to the drawing board. What artist didn't have some crappy albums, you know, whole albums that flopped and things like that, you know, but you've got to go for it. So don't let, you know, that past perfectionist within you, you know, pull up and kind of, you know, throw out the party there, you know, with the North Node, with Pisces. Pisces is a lot about faith. And so for the direction, if that starts coming up, just throw it out with faith. Faith is a big word, faith and compassion for Pisces. Let's see, what else do we have? The North Node for you is in the 9th. Yeah, I'll first go there. The North Node for you is like his is in the 4th house. So a lot of your work in this lifetime is to heal what's inner for you. You know, on a soul level, your work. You know, that doesn't mean professionally, and it can include that, but on a soul level. For you on a soul level, it's the 9th house is higher spirituality, higher philosophy, it's world cultures, it's world travel. And the next time we meet, I do want to show that to you. I do think both of you, I don't know how much you've gone into other cultures, but I think it's kind of time and something for you both to be doing, you know?
We're doing it.
Good,
That's what we're doing.
good. But I'll show you in black and white, putting the charts together in transits. It's really kind of up for both of you right now. Other cultures will really, really get you guys. Yeah. Yeah. What else? The sun, the North Node, that, the moon. Let me see. And I am gonna just bear with me like 2 more minutes because I think this is fun, and I'm gonna show you if you
No, it's so fascinating.
want to know more. So this is a composite chart. It's one way that we look at, you know, a couple comes together. And I never say it's good or bad. The whole thing is just about hanging off of chandeliers and sex, and there's no heart connection, but that's what they want. Then that's good.
Hanging off chandeliers and having sex.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So what a composite midpoint calculation does is it takes your chart and your chart, you know, and like I said, here's the wheel and your sun's here and your sun's there, and it's like, let's move to the middle, you know, and see, like, if we bring these two together, what points does it land on? And this just stood out to me, you know, immediately. And this, you two, the South Node, when I see that land in an important place, and on your rising is a real important place, this has happened before. You two have been on stage before in some way. You two have been shining together in some way before. This is not a new relationship. This I just love, and this is what I'm talking about, Sagittarius. If you pull both of your Saturns together and both of your Neptunes together, this is really cool. Neptune and Saturn, they're like oil and water. Again, you know, Saturn is structure, Neptune is fantasy. But when those two are together, and they can't be any more together than that, 1 degree and 1 degree, they are like this. That's fantasy being made into reality. It's fantasy being brought, into reality. And where are you going to do that? You're going to live the 4th house, and you're going to bring, let's see if it says something like that. Sagittarius is foreign cultures, foreign travel. So, Neptune conjunct Saturn. You have, this is the relationship. The relationship has the ability to be both practical and creative. If you have musical or artistic talent, that's the Neptune, you can give it form and make something long lasting. Saturn is, let's make it real, but let it stand the test of time. You are prepared to put in the practice needed to perfect your creative talents. You may be performers. No shit.
Wow. That is something.
So when the two of you to come together, what you're doing, musically and performing together, it's in the stars.
Wow.
And I love that it's in Sagittarius. Jupiter rules that. And so that tells me, and it's the 4th house, the world, the globe can be your home.
It is.
And your audience is worldwide. Gemini is like the local neighborhood, but that is worldwide. So you're performing in different cultures and different parts of the world. Is really, really good. This one's cool too. I just noticed that. Together, your Mars is in Capricorn in the 5th. That's the house of risk. Mars is let's take some action in Capricorn. Let's take some responsibility with our actions to be creative. The 5th house is self-expression. It's creativity. It's play. So the two of you together, you like to play, you like to take risks, you like to be creative, you like to be self-expressed. Your action moves that way. Mars is our action. So this is all, together stuff. The 7th house is about marriage and significant partnerships, not just like neighbors, but business partners, client therapists that get, real deep with you, significant. Together, you're the Aquarian couple. I love that.
Wow.
So see that little sign? So Aquarius rules your 7th house of partnership together. So together, this relationship is unusual, it's inventive. Isn't that cool?
So cool.
I know.
This is so cool.
And this was the other thing I noticed. This 9th house, without saying too much and trying to teach you too much, do you kind of get what I mean? Like there's a natural wheel, and the 1st house is Aries, then Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and all of our houses, they fall differently because of the time we're born on the ascendant. But this 9th house is the house that Sagittarius naturally rules. So that's the house of higher mind, higher spirituality, higher education, just deeper learning, foreign cultures, foreign travel. So I remember somebody that was a client was like, I don't get how foreign cultures and foreign travel are about higher learning. And I said, go on a trip.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. You got money?
Go
Your
on a
next
trip.
vacation, instead of going at an all-inclusive,
Yeah.
in Hawaii,
Whoa.
go. You're gonna open. It opens the mind to a whole different way, whether it's right or wrong. Where you're going for you. It just I can't think of just the 3 months I've been here. It's like, holy shit, people still live like this, and I'm, learning different things, and what I choose to keep or not keep or whatever is up to me. But boy, what an education, So I think it's interesting. Again, together, your sun shines, your sun is there, your Mercury, your moon, and there's Eris again. You're gonna rock the world. You're gonna what just happened there? So together, and look there's the pioneer spirit. So when you guys come together, your moon is Aries. That's the courage to go to different cultures, to go travel to different places, to reach for the higher mind. And together, that's what I like. Together, your Venus and Mercury are like this. So you really communicate, super well. And they're in Taurus. And Taurus is about comfort, pleasures, sensuality. So that's good too, in a partnership. And I like it because they sit with my Venus and Mars. So see, this is what I think I was saying to you, it's fun. And when you have an expensive program like that, I'll go to a party, there's 20 people, and I go and I'm like, I didn't meet one person but this one person and talk to them for hours. But invariably I walk away, and this isn't talking romance or anything, it's just whoever it is, and usually I'll say, wow, in the astrology, it's my fabric, who I am, comes up. And then when I pull their chart, you'll see, their Venus was right on my sun or something. So you two together, my Venus is, if I put that chart with mine, your Mercury sits exactly on my Venus. So we both value communicating with one another. And your sun shines on my Venus, my love shines on you, So you go, oh wow, no wonder we got along, It's really cool, yeah. And then other people, it's like, what is it? I say one word and they're like, why'd you say that? And then it's like, okay, I gotta see what's going on there. And it's like, okay, like their Mercury squares your Mercury or something, and it's like, I just can't communicate.
Curious to see what mine would be with James.
Yeah, totally.
I got dumped by a friend of mine when we first got here, completely blocked by somebody I really cared about, and I'd be so curious, what.
That's happening a lot. Like one of my closest friends that was my biggest ally through cancer drove me to every doctor visit, biopsy, let me cry, when I didn't want to cry in front of other people. And it's like I moved and it's like ghosted. Like, oh well, I guess, your life's going a different direction now, you're okay. And yeah, it's a big thing happening though, right now.
Good.
It doesn't feel good. Yeah. And you're like, what could I have done?
What could I have done?
But and do you know the 4 agreements? Have you ever heard of the 4 agreements? It's like,
Maybe.
Always do your best. Don't presume anything. Don't presume or assume. I forgot what they all are. I swear my brain isn't working today. But see, I'm right away presuming I did something wrong.
I did too. Yeah.
And for all I know, I do know the first few days I was here, I sent a picture and she was like, you know what, I can't exchange any more than that right now. Ryan had a car accident, he's not hurt, but I'm really upset. And, right away I'm taking it like, wow, what did I do, So I'm presuming I'm at fault. She just there may be a side of her that just, we're all going through deep stuff. And her oldest son attempted suicide a few years ago. So I was thinking, if all of a sudden one almost commits suicide and then you get a call and you thought, if it had happened a different way, he almost could have gotten killed. It could have thrown her, you know, deep into the thing. But what I have to do is just let it go.
Yeah, I did too.
You know, first I took it upon myself,
Yeah.
then I'm trying to make an excuse
Yeah.
for her. And you know what? It just is.
Yeah.
We're all feeling the need right now to leave behind what no longer serves us moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, it's so easy to go to if you're leaving it behind. It must be because something bad happened, or they don't like you, or this or that. And it's a much bigger thing than that. It just may be time to have space from that person, to have room for somebody new.
Yeah.
That's for this next leg of the journey.
That's definitely what I think garnered from it after a few weeks of being sad, is that I grew past him.
How long did you know them?
16 years.
Yeah, me too. This was like 12. She was like
That's so
really
strange.
super
It's
close
really
friend.
painful.
It's very.
really
Oh, I'm
painful.
glad that it. Oh, I was gonna say I'm glad that happened.
Well,
I
it's-
didn't mean it that way.
I know
Just
you
that
mean.
we're sharing, because it is
Icky.
painful. It's really.
But I feel like when
Icky.
people start traveling, like us we were stuck in San Francisco for 2.5 years because of the pandemic. And
Oh,
once-
is that? I was gonna ask
that's
you
what
where
happened.
you
We were
spent,
stuck.
how you navigated
Yeah,
that.
we
You were-
played every day.
Okay.
Yeah. Playing was really special too.
We were very lucky. We had a lovely little spot in the middle of Golden Gate Park that we played 5 days a
Wow.
week, and just really help people survive through that.
Totally. I actually think, I just got off the phone with my daughter not long ago, and we had that conversation. We knew we were having big conferences astrologically online and stuff, that something really whopper is coming in 2020. You know, that's just gonna shift the paradigm. This Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn rules the structures: banking, education, medical, insurance companies, finance. Something is gonna come that's gonna really start breaking down all patriarchy. So just because you have all those planets, the distortion of Capricorn through the years has become patriarchy, because it's how the power wanted to wield the power. You know, they wanted to keep it. And actually, we're in a big conversion now of Capricorn energy going back to the grandmothers. It's ancestral.
I find it really interesting that she's going through so many. She's actually had a tough time.
Yeah, she has.
It's been really tough.
Where are you going?
I'm going to this place.
So, for someone who's not anything
I think